The first example of aircraft in military use was by the French, using hot air balloons for forward reconnaissance from an aerial view named the Corps d'Aérostiers in 1794. Balloons of this type were also used during the Civil War quite commonly for spying on enemy movements and troop positions. The first powered plane in the military was the Wright brothers' military flyer. It was not used in combat and was intended only as an observation craft that could travel much faster and was more controllable and lighter than aircraft such as balloons. Adopted in 1909, it was used by the Army for training pilots and was donated to the Smithsonian in 1911. Its top speed was 42.5 miles an hour. It cruised at a speed of 37 miles per hour. Its engine was a 30 to 40 horsepower inline four-cylinder engine with a wingspan of 36 feet and a construction of wood and canvas. Planes in World War I were typically biplanes made out of wood and canvas with a top speed of about 100 miles an hour and used for scouting. Until the invention of the interrupter gear by Anthony Fokker that allowed for machine guns to be fired in between the propeller blades so that you can't shoot off the propeller, making dogfights and fighter planes possible. In Germany, the most popular planes were the Albatros D1 and D2. They were made of plywood, wood, and canvas and had 150 to 160 horsepower, six-cylinder engines made by the Mercedes and Benz brothers, and featured a pair of 7.92mm machine guns with the Fokker interrupter gear and a two-plated prop. The most famous fighter ace of World War I was Manfred von Richthofen, also known the Red Baron, who was credited with over 80 kills during World War I, more than any other pilot. He used a triplane for added maneuverability but sacrificed top speed and durability, causing him to be killed in the Battle of Amiens on April 21, 1918. One of the most used planes for the Triple Entente was the Sopwith Camel, with 5,490 produced. It was a notoriously difficult-to-learn plane that killed many novice pilots due to its engine's massive amount of torque, making it harder to land and take off. It had a wingspan of 28 feet, weighed 1,453 pounds, a top speed of 117 miles per hour, and 130 to 150 horsepower 9-cylinder radial engine, and two 3.03-inch Vickers front-facing machine guns. For most of the war, the German Luftwaffe used the revolutionary Messerschmitt Bf-109. It was one of the most aerodynamic aircraft designs ever put into production with retractable landing gear, a fully enclosed cockpit, and automatic flaps. For most of the war, Germany had vastly superior planes, and the Bf-109 went through a total of 11 different variants, with 35,500 being produced. It had a wingspan of 32 feet, a top speed of 359 miles per hour, a 1,200 horsepower V12 engine, a range of 680 miles, and a variable set of weaponry between prop hub-mounted cannons to wing-mounted machine guns. The now car company BMW or Bavarian Motor Works invented the first jet engine. In 1942, the Luftwaffe introduced the revolutionary Messerschmitt Me-262, the first operational plane with jet turbine engines rather than piston propeller planes. When it was first introduced, it was much faster and made a terrifying screaming noise as it flew by. Fortunately, the Me-262 saw limited use and had little effect on the war because Germany was simply unable to produce enough of them to make a difference, due to the Allied bombing campaigns and a major shortage of lightweight aluminum and the high-quality fuel needed to run these planes, because bad fuel could easily cause a flameout. The Me-262 had a wingspan of 41 feet, a top speed of 541 miles per hour, over 200 miles per hour faster than other fighters. The engines were two Junkers Jumo 004B turbojets, and it had a range of 652 miles. The most famous and effective American fighter of World War II was the P-51 Mustang. It was developed as a counter to the increasingly powerful German aircraft such as the later models of the Bf-109. It had a long nose to fit its massive V12 supercharged engine, making it hard for pilots to see forward, but it made up for this with its massive amount of power on tap to chase down enemy aircraft. The Mustang had a wingspan of 37 feet, a top speed of 437 miles per hour. It had a supercharged V12 engine making 1,720 horsepower, a range of 1,650 miles, and 650 caliber machine guns. The weirdest plane of the United States was the Vought V-173, dubbed the Flying Flapjack due to its odd pancake-shaped design. It was built like this so that it could take off and land in an incredibly short space, such as on an aircraft carrier. The Flying Flapjack was essentially the world's first VTOL, or vertical takeoff and landing plane. It was quickly scrapped due to the improving technology of jet-powered aircraft. The United States also developed the P-61 Black Widow, which was the first plane designed specifically to carry radar systems, allowing bomber squadrons to see fighters coming from a long ways away and take evasive maneuvers. Germany's weirdest and most revolutionary plane was the Horten-Ho 229. It was a flying wing jet with stealth capabilities due to its difficult-to-detect shape and wood construction. It would have been able to fly under the radar of Great Britain until it was too late and destroy Britain's chain of radar towers. It was never put into production due to it being in a prototype stage, very hard to fly, and Germany was completely out of money and resources at this point in the war. Only 3 prototypes were ever produced. It had an estimated top speed of 607 miles per hour. Germany also had designs for a larger 9-engine version of the Horten-Ho that would have been able to drop a nuclear bomb on New York within a year. The primary jet fighter of the Korean and Vietnam Wars was the F-86 Sabre, with the P-51 Mustang still being used due to its very long range. The Sabre's first year of production was in 1949. It had many revolutionary features such as pressurized cockpits and utilized the first G-suits, a suit that fills certain parts with air in order to force blood to the pilot's brain, allowing him to pull many more Gs without blacking out. It also featured heating and cooling as it was an all-weather fighter and a basic autopilot system. F-86 Sabre has a wingspan of 37 feet, top speed of 690 miles per hour, a range of 789 miles, and 650 caliber machine guns with various missile and bomb outfits. Helicopters have been in development for many years since the 1930s, but were nearly impossible to control and very unreliable. The first effective use of helicopters in the military was during the Vietnam War with the UH-1 Iroquois, nicknamed the Huey. Helicopters are incredibly useful in the battlefield due to their immense movement capabilities and the ability to drop troops directly on the ground without the use of inaccurate and very dangerous paratrooper drops that have been used in World War II. Scout helicopters such as the MH-6 Little Bird are used for scouting and transporting small elite squads, or can be lightly armed with miniguns or rocket pods. Attack helicopters such as the AH-64 Apache are very fast and maneuverable helicopters that carry 2 people, a pilot and a gunner. They are heavily armed with miniguns, cannons, surface-to-air missiles, and air-to-air missiles and rocket pods. They used advanced targeting and night vision systems to put down accurate fire and protect transport helis. Transport helicopters such as the UH-60 Black Hawk transport up to 20 lightly armed troops into battle and usually have 2 door gunners operating miniguns in order to defend the helicopter from ground attacks and to cover disembarking troops if they're going into a hot LZ. Modern planes are faster, more deadly, and stealthier than ever, with insanely high top speeds and are armed with very sophisticated missile guidance systems and have stealth capabilities. The B-2 stealth bomber was developed towards the end of the Cold War so that the US could deliver nuclear bombs onto the Soviet Union without being detected by radar like missiles would, leaving no time for a counterattack by Russia. Its unique design of a flying wing made out of composite materials in certain places make it virtually impossible to spot with radar until the bomb bay is open to drop its payload. The plane is a flying wing design and is painted with radar-absorbing paint in order to absorb and deflect radar away from the radar towers, making it nearly invisible to radar. The only way to spot the B-2 stealth bomber is with the naked eye, making it nearly impossible to bring down. It has a wingspan of 69 feet, a top speed of 630 miles an hour, a range of 6,900 miles, and a bomb capacity of 40,000 pounds, with the capability to carry 16 thermonuclear bombs or 80 500-pound bombs. Arguably the most advanced fighter plane ever produced is the F-35 Lightning II. It is a stealth multi-role plane developed by the United States and is armed to the teeth with missiles designed for taking out enemy aircraft and ground forces. Certain models are also planned to be missile hunters that can track and shoot incoming missiles, nuclear or regular, before they hit the ground. They also cost $98 million per plane. There is a bright future for aircraft, military or civilian, with faster, more efficient, safer, more stealthy, and more deadly planes.